drafting a dartless pattern, a dartless corset bodice, the first thing you need to consider is you are going to draft a dartless bodice, a basic dartless bodice. So that is where we're going to start from. So this is my paper. So I'll go ahead, and the first thing you do is you get your top line. So from the edge of the paper, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So I've drawn out my lines. So the next thing I will draw, the next line I'm going to draw, this is my top line, this is my bust line, my waistline, and my hip line. So the next line I'm going to draw is my under bust line, and under bust line is 14.5. So I'll measure 14.5 here and draw and mark it, then draw the line. So I'm going to use my marker, as the color pencil is not visible. So now that I've labeled my lines, I've drawn out my lines and I've labeled them. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark my margin, to get my margin. And my margin, it is gotten from the largest part of our body. You know, we have our bust measurement, our bust circumference, our bust, our waist circumference, under bust circumference, hip waist circumference, and hip circumference. So among those measurements, you are going to choose the highest, the one that has the highest number of measurements. Maybe your bust is 30, your waist is your under bust is 20, your waist is 32, and your hip is 40. Or your bust is 50, your hip is 30, your waist is 20 something. The largest part of your body measurement, that is what you are going to use. So for this measurement, the largest part of my body's measurement is my hip. So I'm going to use my hip. My hip is 42, so I'm going to use my hip. Now, don't forget that whatever your measurement is, you're going to add ease. There's what we call wearing ease. You're going to add your wearing ease to it. So my hip measurement is 40. Then I'm adding 2 inches at my hip for the wearing ease. So yeah, whatever the measurement is, whatever you get, you're going to divide it by 2. So 42 divided by 2, that's 21. I'll mark it across, I'll mark it through the lines to my hip line. So I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to connect it. So this will be our margin line. This will be our margin line. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get all our back measurements. So what to do is you label your back and your front. So this will be my back, and this will be my front. So here I'm going to, there's a way we get our neckline. You don't just assume we measure our neckline. We it's like a calculation. We calculate it. So after calculating, it's 3 inch for the back, and the neck width. Then for the back, the width for the back, neck width for the back. I mean the depth for the back. I'm going to use 1 inch. So I will take my French curve, connect it. So as you can see, I was not using the deepest part of my French curve or armhole curve. I'm using the place that is not too curvy. It's a little bit straight and it's a little bit curvy. And why are we doing that? It is because the back of our neck is not curvy, it is straight. So that is why we are doing this. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to get our shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 15. So the shoulder measurement divided by 2. I'm going to mark it here on the top line. I am also going to mark it on the bust line. So after marking it, connect with a straight line. So after doing this, the next thing we are going to get is our shoulder line. Is a standard. Our shoulder line, the standard for our shoulder line is 1.5. So I'll get my 1.5. Then I'll mark it round. So after doing this, the next thing you do is you connect it from the point here to the joining here. So this is going to be our shoulder slope and this is our neckline. So after doing this, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our bust measurement here. So our bust measurement, you divide it, your bust measurement, you're going to divide it by 4. So my bust measurement is 37. I will add my ease, which is 1 inch, that's 38. Then you divide it by 4. That is, so that is 9.5. So you're going to measure 9.5 here. After measuring your 9.5, on this line, on the shoulder line, you're going to divide this line by 2. The next thing we are going to get is our waist measurement. So my waist measurement is 32. 32 plus your ease, which is 1 inch, that's 33, divided by 4, which gave us 8.25. So I'm going to mark it here. Don't forget that this is a dartless bodice, so I'm not adding any darts. I'll mark it here. Then the next thing we are getting is our hip measurement. Don't forget that this is that was what we used as our margin. So our hip measurement is 42 divided by 4. That is 10.5. So I'm going to use my ruler to join. So after joining, this is what we have for our back. So now we proceed to the front pattern. Now for the front, there will be 1 or 2 changes. It won't be the same as the back. So the first changes is our top line is going to move. This is the top line. I don't know if you can see it. Let me draw it well. So this is the top line. So this top line is going to move. It's not going to be the same. So that is what we are going to, that's the first thing we are going to do. So I'm going to draw. So this is going to be our new top line. This is going to be our new top line. So from there, we're going to measure. Don't forget, whatever we are going to use the width for the back. Whatever you use, the width you use for the back is what I'm going to use for the front. So I'll use it here, 3 inch. Mark it. Then I'm going to mark it down, 3 inch also. Mark it down. After marking it, I'll use my armhole curve. You know, when we're drawing for the back, we use the part that is not too curvy. But for the front, because of the shape of the front of our neck, it is curvy. So we're going to use the curvy part. So this is the front neck, and this is the front, the neck for the front, and this is the neck for the back. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to get our shoulder slope. Now, instead of measuring, you know, for the back, we measured our shoulder slope, then joined it. But instead of doing that, all we have to do is to just measure the shoulder slope for the back. This is 468. So you transfer, transfer. You transfer it to the front. After transfer, you transfer it from the new top line to the shoulder line. Shoulder line. So after doing that, connect. So we have gotten our shoulder slope for the front. So the next thing we are going to do is to get our chest width, just like we did for the back. You know, this is our back width. This is back width. So we're going to get our bust measurement that we use here. We're going to get it for the front. Which is 9.5. After doing that, I'm going to you see that now that we have gotten this, we'll move to our waist. We'll measure our waist and mark it on paper, which is 8.25. Don't forget that we're not adding any dots. So mark and connect. Then you connect it back because it is the same thing. So you're going to just connect it here. So after doing this, there's what we call armhole contour or armhole. We call it remeasuring our armhole, because most of the time this bust line does not, at the end of the day, we have our armhole measurement. So instead of just drawing and continue with our drafting, we have to make sure that our armhole on paper is aligning with the actual armhole measurements. So what we have to do is we have to measure. We're going to measure our armhole. We're going to measure our armhole on paper to check if it is correlating with the armhole on the actual armhole. So I'll be starting from here to measure it. Then I'll continue from here and measure. Okay. This is a 948, 958, 968, 968, 968. And so this is 19 minutes to 8. This is 19 to 8. And my actual measurement is 18. So it is not equal. So I will have to um do some changes, then we measure it. So what we have to do here is we are going to come up by 1 inch from the bust line. You might decide to use, so we're going to remeasure our armhole. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up here from the bust line. We're going to come up by 1 inch. So I've already marked this one. I'll mark it across the bust line. So the measurement, it always varies. It varies. You can decide to first come up by 1/2 inch to check. Then you can decide, you can, after withdrawing your armor and you measure it and you see that it's not enough or it's too much, you can come down. But the most important thing is you cannot go below your bust line. Your bust line is the longest you can go. You can't go below your bust line. So from here I will measure I'm going to divide again this line. Don't forget that we've come up. So this the middle of this shoulder width and back width is no more eligible. So we are going to measure and mark our the middle again. So this is 8, so the middle is 4. So I'll remeasure my bust line 9.5. Yeah. So I'm going to do the same thing for the back. 9.5. So I'm going to remeasure to see if it is correlating with the actual measurements. So this ruler is what we usually use. So this is a 8, 8, 5, 8, 8, 6, 8. 858, 868, 878, 878. So yes, this is 18 and a half. It is okay. So we are going to continue with our measurements. This is correct. So whatever you are getting, you are going to write it down. Write it down. Whatever you got for the front, this is I think 878. You're going to write it down for reference. Then I'll remeasure this one. This is 9 and 9 6 8. So after doing this, we are okay with our body, so we can proceed to the next. We can proceed to getting our corset from this.